What's up, guys? Haven't done a commentary video analysis video in a while, and I felt like doing one, so here I am, and here you are listening to my voice. Whether it's annoying or not, you will have to deal with it. Um, I wanted to do this because I've seen a lot of posts and a lot of people asking, well, what's Salamangreat and why are they so hyped up at the moment? And well, if you don't know at the moment, in the OCG, a lot of the cards, or well, a lot of the decks have been hit, and it's kind of kind of allowed Salamangreat to actually do something. And with the new structure deck, they actually gave the archetype, or whatever you call it, some really nice combos to do, and they can make pretty oppressive boards with little to no investment into resources. So for example, one card can turn into a couple of hurdles for your opponent to get over. So I kind of want to show you and talk to you about the deck, because a lot of people are asking about it. What I have here is a sort of a skeleton or a core for the deck, and I've played around with it for quite a while now, and I've kind of arrived at the conclusion that this is sort of the core that I think that is good to use to, I guess, start building your deck around it. And of course, you know, different people, different playstyles, different ideas. You can use whatever you want to add to it and change it up, etc. So this is from my playtesting. This is from what I think is best for the deck core, and then later on I'll show you a variation of the deck, or what I play as well. Okay, so one of the new cards that they got from Soul Burner Structure Deck was Gazelle, which is on normal or special summon, you can send a Salamangreat card from the deck to the grave. Yes, it sends any Salamangreat card, a spell, a trap, or a monster. And the typical combo would be to either send Spinny or one of the counter traps, or the other Salamangreat trap, which pops stuff, okay? Why would you do that though? Well, because there's a link monster that comes out soon in Savage Strike, which recovers your Salamangreat spells and traps from the graveyard. So that's the initial combos. The next one is Spinny. It's level 3 as well. You can send this from your hand to the grave, and it changes the attack of a monster if you control a Salamangreat monster. If you have a Salamangreat card, you can special summon it from the grave. Now, why would you do that? Well, if Gazelle is level 3 and Spinny is level 3, then you can make a Xyz monster. But we'll get on to that later. But really, what this is starting to look like is Salamangreat is a deck that plays around with the graveyard and uses it as a source of resource. Okay. Next one is Foxy, which came out in the Soul Fusion set, I believe. And on normal summon, you can excavate the top 3 cards and add a Salamangreat card from it. It's an alright normal summon. I play around with 1 and 2, but I stuck with 1, but I kind of want to stick with 2. But for a deck core, I think 1 is a good starting point, okay? And also, if it's in your grave, surprise surprise, it has graveyard effects. You can discard a Salamangreat card and then special summon this, and you can destroy a face-up spell or trap on the field, okay? Now, the next 2 are your level 4 Salamangreat monsters, Falco and Jaguar. Falco's alright. When it goes to grave, it recovers a spell or trap from the graveyard, so it has recoverability. And also it bounces a Salamangreat monster to the hand, and then it special summons itself from the graveyard. Now, what you can do with Falco is combo off with Gazelle. If you normal summon Gazelle, you can send something through to the grave, okay? But then you can use Falco to bounce it back to your hand and special summon Falco from the grave, and then you can summon your Link 1 Salamangreat monster, and then Salamangreat Gazelle summons itself back from the hand. So there's some interactions with Gazelle. The better of the two would be Jack Jaguar, which is also a level 4, but also it special summons itself by shuffling a Salamangreat monster in your graveyard back into the deck or extra deck. It's a level 4. Now, the main point to play these level 4s is to access rank 4s, which is probably going to be Baguska. Now, the next free monsters that you'll see as a free of is Lady Debugger, which is 1, a starter for your deck, and 2, it's also an extender, and 3, it's also for consistency as well while using up your normal summon. Now, you can normal summon Gazelle or Spinny or Foxy, and you can normal summon Lady Debugger. That's why I don't really want to play more than 2 Foxies, but you can argue that Foxy gives you access to Link 1, which then triggers Gazelle, because Foxy goes to Grave, which Lady Debugger can't do. There are many times where I wish I had a Foxy, so free Lady Debugger is cool, but sometimes you want a Foxy as well, so you might want to consider bumping Foxy up to 2, just to interact with Gazelle and Spinny. But yeah, no, Debugger, everybody was like, the second structure deck for Playmaker had Medical cards, but you know, Lady Debugger was just waiting for something to break it, okay? And here comes Salamangreat, because they're Cyberse. The rest of the monsters are your usual hand traps. You got Ash Blossom and you got Effect Veiler. Now, I kind of wanted to play Ogre, but I found Effect Veiler to be much more useful at the moment, okay? The gating monster effects is just better from what I've been seeing. Now, moving on to spells, you got Salamangreat Circle, which is your rotor for the deck. It adds a Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand. Now, you can also target a Salamangreat Link monster that has been reincarnated and it is unaffected by other monsters. So it also has protection, and I've done it a couple of times before to protect my Sunlight Wolf or Heat Lego. The rest of the spells are just things to help your deck get going. Called by the Grave to stop any pesky hand traps, and Foolish Burial, which helps get Spinny into Grave. The next are your traps. You got Infinite Impermanence, and then now the Salamangreat traps, which is Roar, which is a counter trap if you control a reincarnated Salamangreat monster or Salamangreat monster. You can negate a spell, trap, or monster effect, and then banish it. Oh no, and it destroys, but it banishes itself when it sets itself from the grave. So if you reincarnate someone, Roar can set itself from the graveyard, but it banishes itself when you use it. So again, Roar has some graveyard effects that helps you to recover or keep on playing. Rage is probably my favorite of the two, because really it lets you pop cards depending on the link rating of your reincarnated Salamangreat Link monster. Usually that'll be either 2 or 3, but it's usually going to be 2 because you're going to leave Sunlight Wolf on the field unless you want to summon Heat Leo. So yeah, that's the deck core. Moving on to the extra deck, you got Mirage Stalio, which is a great rank 3 monster that summons a Salamangreat monster from the deck to the field. And also if it leaves the field, or if it's sent to the graveyard as link material, you can bounce a monster. And I've done that a couple of times, and it is very annoying to the opponent. Rank 4 would be your Baguska. You got your Heat Leos. If you don't know what Heat Leo does, it targets a spell or trap and shuffles it into the deck. If you reincarnate it, you can target one face-up monster and then one monster in your graveyard, and then the target becomes the same attack as the one in the graveyard. Why would you do that? Well, it opens up for OTK potential, and also sets up your Violet Chimera to OTK your opponent. Sunlight Wolf. This is coming out in Savage Strike. This is really good, and it's probably the main link monster that you want to get to in a Salamangreat deck. Why, you would ask? Because if you reincarnate it, you can grab a spell or trap from the graveyard and add it to your hand, which is going to be either Rage or your Counter Trap or your Salamangreat Circle, or even Fusion of Fire if you play that. So this is where Gazelle's ability comes in to play here. Also, if someone summons something to the link mark, the zone pointed to by your link marker, you can recover a monster from your graveyard to your hand, a fire monster. So sometimes I recover my Ash Blossom, or I recover the Gazelle I invested in to get my board going. So yeah, it's pretty good. Veil Links. Main job for the deck here is to actually add Sanctuary from the deck to the hand, which reminds me I don't have Sanctuary in the in my main deck, which is very embarrassing. But that's alright. We're all learning. You know, if you played this deck without Sanctuary, I don't know what you would do. It used to be a really dead card in the deck because you had to place either terraforming or whatever, but to fetch it and link monster abilities of Heat Leo was kind of underwhelming until Soul Fusion and Savage Strike and the structure deck. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly add Sanctuary to my deck. There you go. Let me quickly save that so I don't forget. And then you got a Tromare Phoenix or Nightmare Phoenix, which is a fire attribute. Now, if you use Mirage Stallion, you are locked to fire monsters. Well, you're not locked to fire monsters, but you can't use monster effects besides your fire monsters. So you can summon other stuff, but you can't use their effects. So, that's the main deck that I would use, or the main core that I would use. Next, I'm going to show you a variation of the deck core that I use in my testing.